we got together with partners and we formed together Susosu water, which is a naturally sourced mineral water from a 400 feet underground source infused with extramolecular hydrogen for a much healthier hydration than any other water brand out there, for sure.
Welcome back to another episode of R4E, the Reason for Everything podcast. I hope you all had a great holiday season. Really excited to share with you today's guest, Mr. Jheen O. Jheen, I think we first got connected on LinkedIn at some point over the last couple of months. I've come across you and your amazing product over at Susosu. Excited to hear more about your journey to get to where you are today. I'm a huge Washington Wizards fan. I saw Gilbert Arenas post about your all's product. And so excited to hear more about you and your journey to, like I said, get to where you are now. But with that, before we started filming, you were talking about your walk-up song. You wanted to pick something legendary. You mentioned We Paid by Lil Baby. I'm a huge rap fan. I've talked about it a bunch on this show in the past. Why is Lil Baby the artist of choice and We Paid the song of choice for today's episode?
Well, for starters, he's my favorite artist out right now. He's been my favorite artist, probably the hottest artist for like the past 2-3 years. This might sound a little corny, but he also has a real cool business side to him, very business oriented, and I felt like it was the most appropriate song for this.
I like it. I have to. Maybe he'll be a future guest one day. Lil Baby, if you happen to be listening to the R4E podcast, you heard Jheen and I here first. We'd love to hear more about your business side. But Jheen, this episode's about you. I want to hear more about you. Candidly, I know very, very little, just surface level desktop research that I was able to dig up. You were kind enough to send over a case of some of your all's waters. And for those of you who don't know, so Jheen is the founder and CEO, is that right, of Susosu?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. So it's a hydrogen mineral water company. But let me give you the platform to tee it up and share with the audience a little bit more about who you are and the product, and we can go from there.
Definitely. So, my partner Nadia and I started this business back in 2018 when we realized a lot of these major water brands don't provide you the proper hydration that your body deserves, mainly because it's made from purified water, which is, another word for manufactured tap water, right? And what people don't know is that purified water is not really feeding your body the nutrients and minerals that water is supposed to do, but actually pretty harmful for it and takes minerals and nutrients from your body. So what we did was, we got together with partners and we formed together Susosu water, which is, naturally sourced mineral water from a 400 feet underground source infused with extramolecular hydrogen for a much healthier hydration than any other water brand out there, for sure.
Super interesting. Now, there's so many questions I want to explore further because just such a complex issue. And I've done a ton of my own research and learnings on different types of water. And I feel like it's become almost a fad over the last couple of years with all the different pH waters and that whole aisle of the grocery store now has changed so much. I know you guys are one of the fastest growing premium water companies on Amazon over the last few years. I want to learn more about that. But before we do, what got you into the water, packaged water space in the first place?
Prior to starting Susosu, I had a background in just marketing. I went to George Mason University, local school, but I didn't complete. So don't want to give any. Yeah. But, typical entrepreneur story. But, so what got me really into water was actually my dad. So my dad was one of those types of parents that always stressed about health. He was always bringing the weirdest stuff, but it was good for your health. And just from him being a trendsetter in the health and wellness, I kind of drew on to healthier for you products. And that's how really the love came. It's really my dad that inspired me.
I got you. Mm-hmm. Well, both my parents went to Mason and also very big into the health and wellness world. But, there's tons of different avenues you can go down for health and wellness and good food and that whole realm. But why water? I mean, it's such a complicated, saturated space to start with. What hooked you about water and, exploring new products in that realm that got you where you are?
Yeah, so my dad's really the mastermind behind the product. He was in Korea for about 2 years when I had to pick him up from the airport at like 5 in the morning. And it was Sunday morning too, I believe. So it was one of those weekends. So I had to pick him up really early. And we were just catching up about what he's been up to these past 2 years, and he showed me just a prototype of Susosu water. And at first I was just like, like water's so water's really, like it's really saturated and it's really competitive as well. How are you guys gonna, how are we gonna go against Deer Park? How are we gonna go against the Essentia waters, the Smart waters, the big companies? And he started explaining the benefits about hydrogen water and then also mineral water as well. And that morning, as soon as we got home, I went straight to the Google search and started looking up, the health benefits of drinking hydrogen water, what kind of competitors are out there. And I saw that surprisingly, uh, the hydrogen water space wasn't really saturated as far as the overall premium bottled water industry. So I saw opportunity in that, and then I also saw that there was limited research on hydrogen water, and a lot of the research was in Asia. So I found that there was an opportunity to really introduce really the most robust and most highest quality of hydration to the U.S. market.
Now, from the time you dropped out of school, like you said, the typical entrepreneur story you hear about all the time, you
Mhm.
leave Mason. Did you go straight into this venture, or did you have any time between Mason and Susosu?
Yeah, so as soon as I left Mason, I got connected with a friend of a friend, and he was running an online travel agency. And at this point, I had dropped out of college, so I was just like, man, like I need to get I need to get like an office job because that's what we're supposed to do. And I'm not gonna lie, he pulled up in a Tesla, and this was back in like 20 like 15 or something, 16, when there wasn't as many Teslas out there. And I was just like, what do you do? And he told me he ran an online travel agency, and he said, we're actually looking for marketers if you want to send me your resume. And sure enough, I sent the resume the same day. Got a call back the following Monday, and then started working there for about 5 years of my career. But they were really impactful to my business because working with a small business really taught you every part of the business. And for me, it was so crazy because how I had corporate America envisioned as a young, you know, 19 or 21-year old was just, I just do one thing and I'm really good at it. And I'm just going to do that for 20, 30 years, really, and retire. So, it was so surprising because I literally had to change the prices for the flight tickets and then go to marketing and then go to helping out with their accounting. So overall, it didn't really teach me how to be a great marketer, but taught me how to be a businessman. And working with two very successful guys helped shape my mentality and help my business mindset for sure.
Sounds like that job was almost entrepreneurial in nature in a lot of ways, where you're able to kind of be a jack of all trades within a different age or within the agency and learn different sides of the house, which probably helped you when you were starting this business.
For sure. And really inspired me as well because, going back, I thought the only way to really do business was just physically having an item, handing it over, you say the price, and then the transaction happens. But I saw these guys really build one of the biggest online travel agencies. all through a computer. And that's when I really got inspired and realized that, wow, like you can do online business and really have a legit business, hire people, have a whole team just all through the internet, which was so amazing to me.
Now, flash forward, you're picking your dad up from the airport. He's telling you about hydrogen water. What was the next step? So you do all the desktop research, you dive on Google search, learn about hydrogen water, mineral water. Did you just go to work on that next Monday or the next day and put in your 2 weeks, or what was the next step for you in that journey?
No, so we started Susosu back in 2018, and I actually didn't quit my job until the pandemic, actually,
Oh,
which
really?
yeah, which makes sense. But as soon as I finished the Google searching, I literally called Nadia immediately, and I was just like, because she had a real entrepreneur mindset, and we also wanted to do business, we just didn't know what, right? And I had told her that, oh, I just finished picking up my dad. I just did a lot of research. There's something called hydrogen water, and we need to build it. We need to build the biggest like water brand, bigger than Fiji. I kept saying that because Fiji water was like really the most popular brand as far as like the premium bottled water industry. So I was just like, we're gonna build the next Fiji. We're gonna do this, and we're all gonna do it online. So, bought the domain, set up the LLC, and we started the business about 2 weeks after I picked up my dad and got our first shipment in probably about a month after that.
That's crazy. Now,
Mhm.
what does Susosu mean? Is that a translated word, or what? Walk me through the kind of brand ethos.
Yeah. So Susosu means hydrogen in Korean.
I
So it
figured
just
that
means,
might be the case.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it just means hydrogen water. So in
Okay.
Korean.
All
Yeah.
right. And so with that, I mean, for those watching on video, it's packaged beautifully in a pouch, and I've seen some kind of other types of almost looks like those apple sauces. You know, the squeezed
Yeah.
tube apple sauce the kids drink out of. So
Right.
walk me through what that process is like. So you're coming from a marketing background, working at an ad agency. Not only do you have to learn about the water and the hydrogen mineral, I guess, process that goes into going 400 feet. Was it 400 feet down to get to that
Yep.
source?
Yes, sir.
Lots to learn about that. What was that process like for you? How did you attack that learning curve? There's obviously tons of resources online, but from interest to idea to conception of product, walk me through that journey a little bit further and kind of what those steps looked like as kind of the entrepreneurial journey started for you there.
Right. I'm not gonna lie, it was really difficult because, this was really, really new to us. All I knew was social media marketing mainly, digital marketing. That's where my expertise came in. I had no idea about the CPG business, the consumer packaged goods. I had no experience in food and beverage, and I just really liked the product. But that was really a bad combination at first because the fact that you like the product and everything new you learn about the product, you're just like, oh, let me do a marketing campaign on that. So I would say, man, like our first maybe even like 2 years was just really hectic because we were just trying anything. We were just like, oh, hydrogen water, it's the best because of hydrogen. Buy it. And then next month we would be like, oh, it's really portable and it's made from aluminum, so now we're recyclable. Go buy it. So our the hard part was just grasping at the value proposition of the product and just going along with that. So, and it took
No,
us about 2 years to
and
figure that
then 2 years till from 18 to 20, and then the pandemic hits, and then you go all in. So
out.
walk me through it further. So obviously, all these premium brands, your all's competitors are they have the market share because they've been around for a while. I'm sure at some
For
point
sure.
they were facing the same sorts of questions that you guys were like, hey, why would I pay $6 for a Fiji bottle when I can go get the Deer Park or whatever bottle
Right.
for cheaper? What is the benefit of hydrogen water, mineral water that I know you said there's different, it's almost harmful maybe in some ways that for the
Right.
non-hydrogen water, but for the layman, what's hydrogen water doing to us that regular water that might be drinking out of the bottle or filter might not be? Not quizzing you, just my own curiosity here because it's fascinating to me.
Yeah. No. Because It's a combination of the all natural mineral water with the hydrogen infusion that makes it the most efficient water for you to get all your natural minerals and vitamins directly from our source. What we pride in is really providing the best quality, which is natural mineral water, as opposed to even distilled water, purified water, or even spring water as well, which is also good water. So the hydrogen acts as really the best transportation system to get all the minerals directly from our water to your body in the most efficient way.
Super interesting. And now,
Mhm.
in Korea or other countries, is this like a very common practice that we're just not aware of in the States, or is it pretty novel over in Korea as well, like when your dad discovered it in the first place?
Yeah, so it actually hydrogen water originated in Japan. And I would say the popularity level for hydrogen water in the US is probably the same as Korea, surprisingly, because they're borderline countries. But
Right.
I would say it's relatively new to the world, kind of. It's not really like well known, I would say, throughout the world, except for Japan. So, relatively new concept.
Super interesting. And then, I mean, at any point during the journey, during those 2 years where you guys are kind of scratching your heads, trying a bunch of different stuff, did you think about just packing it up, calling it a day, going back to, I guess you were still working full time so you're wearing two different hats at this point, kind of having your 9 to 5 and then your 5 to 9, like Dolly Parton said in the Super Bowl commercial. But at any point in
Yep.
those 2 years when you guys were kind of in pure startup phase, did you just think about quitting and packing it up, or were you ready to just go all in on this thing?
There was definitely a lot of times where I was just like, I didn't feel like, I mean, none of us really felt like quitting, but there was definitely a lot of times where I had doubts about my leadership. I had doubts about even, running a business because we just weren't doing much.
Yeah.
The standards were so low our first year where we were just like, man, like, and this is a true story too. I was just like, man, if we can just at least get 2,000 in revenue a month, we'll be successful. Like that's all I'm asking. I'm hoping we can do that all through digital. And it just wouldn't happen because, you know, as opposed to these other, CPG brands or technically any company, they usually start off with capital, and we were just 100% bootstrapped. I remember at one point we weren't really running up any revenue, so my paychecks would just go straight into the business bank accounts, and the business was just staying alive from my paychecks, and it was just really frustrating. I was just like, man, I don't know what we're gonna do. And then in 2019, Nadia had discovered that we should sell our product on Amazon, and I was just like, Amazon, like at this time I didn't even have a Prime account, so I was just like, why Amazon? Like, why would we even sell water on Amazon? We should just sell it directly on our website. And she was just like, from my research, Amazon's really blowing up right now. Conversions is great. Traffic is there, has the brand, people trust Amazon. We should try it. And I was just like, at this point, we're not really doing much, so let's try it. And I would say that was really the turning point when we joined Amazon.
Interesting. So you guys go on Amazon in 19.
Hmm.
Pandemic hits. Was there just a huge wave of folks trying to discover? I mean, obviously, there's been a huge bump in the broader health and wellness community, and the ripple effects that that's had in the you know adjacent industries has been very, very apparent. But was there a particular kind of hockey stick growth that you guys saw in line with the pandemic, or what was the main catalyst for you leaving your job and going all in on Susosu, outside maybe the pandemic, probably putting a pause on travel agencies, staying busy at that time?
Yeah, man. I mean, you hit it right on the money, and actually, you're the first person that um, approached it like that in a way where, oh, how much did your business increase during the pandemic? Because everyone was just like, man, like, how much did you hurt during the pandemic? For us, we were hurting prior to the pandemic, and the pandemic actually like shot us up, and we had about like a 295% increase in revenue from 2019 to 2020, and I was just like, wow, like we're doing it. This is amazing, and it was just really a great feeling. Felt like we felt really accomplished, and at this point, I was just like, you know what, like I think my calling's to blow up Susosu water. So
I mean, I think about this all the time with this show and what I'm doing here, and I try to live by the Wayne Dyer quote of detaching the law of attachment, detaching from outcomes. But
mhm,
you know, you can't help but seeing statistics and hopefully seeing growth of your respective product, or for me, my listenership. Was there a
right.
particular point where you opened up your all's Amazon account and there was a huge shipment that came through, or was there a particular like, holy cow, I made it moment in the early days of Susosu, other than kind of the year over year growth you mentioned there?
I would say when we had moved offices, we used to have a shared desk at one of those co-working spaces in McLean. And we had to move offices to our hometown in Springfield, Virginia, where we were able to send out ship pallet shipments. And at one point, me and my partner were just wrapping up the pallets. We're about to send, I think, like 7 pallets at once, and I was just like, wow, we made it! Like because we went from packing a few boxes a day, if not that, to sending out 7 pallets on like a bi-weekly basis. So that's when I was just like, wow, like I think we made it. So I
Too
think
cool.
that, yeah.
And then, so Amazon's taken off at that point. You have your website going. At what point were you able to continue to infuse your social media and marketing background into the product as you guys were going? Was there, I mean, like I said, everyone was at home, had time during the pandemic to be scrolling, and TikTok was taking off at this point. Did you
Mhm.
guys have a, again, you were kind of the jack of all trades at this point, you and your team having to do a lot of different stuff as you're bootstrapping this business. You're probably gravitating naturally towards the marketing aspect because that's where your kind of skill set leaned towards through any sort of schoolwork. But what was that process like for you as you guys were trying to go out and build out that product market fit, go through and try to educate consumers of why hydrogen mineral water is so important? What was that process like for you guys from the education and marketing perspective of the tool or of the product?
The most we would do as far as educational and just really trying to, inform the consumers of what hydrogen mineral water can do for your body, was just really on social media. Uh, at this point, and this is where the story gets good. At this point, we weren't really focused on building a brand, and that's why, you know, uh, we kind of lost track of the vision of why we created Susosu water and why we're trying to distribute this product so heavily. And we were just like, wow, we're running up sales. Let's just reinvest back into Amazon and just focus on Amazon, Amazon, Amazon. And at this point, Amazon was running about 90% of our revenue right now. And reason for everything. Never put your eggs in one basket. And damn, yeah, we got hit with the suspension back in 2021.
How come?
Yeah, so um, I remember the date. It was October 13th, 2021. I will remember this forever. It was at 3 p.m. I was at the park shooting. I think I had like a men's league basketball game that day, right? So I was just shooting, and I remember just getting an email, like a little email. I just had a feeling, and I looked at my phone, and I saw that your account has been suspended with Amazon, and I was just like, no way, this can't be. Like, this is the downfall. Like, what's going on? Like, at this point, we were on pace to hit our second year of having over 250% year over year increase, right? And we were rolling. I was ready to build a beverage brand all through e-commerce, mainly just Amazon. And we got hit with an email that said our account was suspended because it was connected to another account via IP address.
Hmm.
Yeah, and this come to realize, later down the line, it was a drop shipping account that was doing a lot of bad stuff to their customers, and they were just messing up on orders. It was apparently a really bad suspension, and they had connected our two stores via IP and suspended us because they were just like, oh, you guys are affiliated and owned by the same people. And my heart just dropped at this point. I was like, what are we supposed to do? Should I reach out to those guys again and be like, hey, you guys still have a job opening? I was just worried at this point because this was 90% of our revenue. And we spent thousands on these these Amazon lawyers. They're called like Amazon lawyers. Their sole business focus is to unsuspend accounts and help you get out of it, right? So we spent thousands on these Amazon lawyers to help our account get out of suspension, which, by the way, they were never able to recover, right? And at this time, we were just plummeting and plummeting and plummeting. We weren't having any revenue. Also, all that money that was on Amazon, because how Amazon works is you get paid every 2 weeks, and all that extra money that we should have had, to reinvest into the next play, right, was actually held by Amazon. And on top of that, they were sending back all the boxes and charging us for it, and there was nothing we can do. So just imagine coming home from the office already beat up from not having revenue and just, going through all that and just having pallets sent back to your house, which was crazy. So at this point, I was just like, what's the next big thing? What do we need to focus on in order to recover ourselves from the loss of Amazon? And I was like, oh, from my research, Walmart's the next big thing. Because, what a lot of marketers had said at that time were just, Walmart's the next big thing. They're like what Amazon was 10 years ago. And I was like, oh, 10 years ago, that's not that bad. That's not too long ago. So maybe there's like upside potential, right? And I could also be one of those early players in the game as well. So, at this point, we were investing our time and focus on Walmart, spent on extra companies to help us with our advertising. Um, and we just ended up losing thousands of dollars, right? While while this was happening, we just we really didn't know what we were going to do. We were you know taking out loans wherever we can to save the business. And at this point, we were just at our lowest point in business, and it wasn't looking good financially. And we just felt less motivated. I couldn't say we were going to quit, but we were definitely feeling super dead and every day coming into the office. And I remember my partner Nadia and I were just doing, you got to always go back to the Google searches. We were just doing Google searches, right? To see if maybe we should go into retail and distribution, because I had never, like I said, I've never been in the industry. I don't know anything about retail and distribution. At this point, I was gonna call Costco corporate and just be like, "Hey, do you guys want my product or what?" Like, I had no idea how to approach it, right? But what I did want to do was just kind of potentially find a partner that can help us, right? So, um, we were doing Google search and I came across Union Kitchen, shout out them, food and beverage accelerator program based out of DC. Really, really good people. They kickstarted the retail and distribution. And we reached out to apply for their accelerator because we're just like, at this point, Walmart, we're losing thousands, website still relatively like, consistent, and Amazon still no hope. So I was just like, let's try these guys. Right. And we applied for their accelerator and we actually got approved to work with them and went straight to work. We partnered with them in June of 2022. So about 8 months after the suspension happened, right? It took us that long to figure that out, right? And since then, we're actually now in over 200 locations around the Mid Atlantic region. and including partners with Giant Foods and with one of the nation's biggest distributors. So, you know, at this point, the focus was really just to grow our retail and distribution, focus on that. But at the same time, I was on the side like, it would be good if we could have Amazon back. And at this point, the lawyers weren't really helping anymore because they're according to their contract, they were just like, we can only submit so many appeals, and then that's what we're contracted for. Up to you guys now, right? So we had to do it, and we didn't get a refund. So at this point, I was just telling Nadia like, let's just submit, let's just submit. What's the worst that can happen? They can't suspend us any more than we're already suspended. And we got hit with an email, like a random email that just said, "Hey, your Amazon account is unsuspended in May." So I was just like, "Wow, what the?" And at this point, we were also building up the retail and distribution, and that side was building as well. So to have Amazon back, I was like, "Oh, now we're about to build a real big empire. Now we're going back to the vision." So it's crazy because like I feel like it was all God's plan because I would have never had the courage and motivation to go to retail um if we never experienced those rough 7 months. I always had, the best excuses to get away from retail and distribution because I knew it was a tough game from watching Shark Tank. Um and I had no prior experience. And although it's been really tough and still is, but we're just blessed to really be scaling at a healthy rate. And it's just crazy how everything just came together all at once.
Love it,
Yeah.
man. Absolutely love it. Perfect. Yeah, perfect example of why I love to have these sorts of conversations. And for anyone listening who hears stories from previous guests of how amazing entrepreneurship is, appreciate your candor there and walking through some of the true difficulties you guys faced. Interesting to hear some of the complexities of working on Amazon. You always see the Instagram reels and TikToks about how easy it is. You just set up a business, fire it up there, no problems, make your passive income online and call it a day. But
Uh,
um, really crazy to hear. And even the fact that there's a whole industry probably around Amazon lawyers is crazy. Um,
100%.
but Union Kitchen's great. There's one up the street from me, and really, really happy for you guys, and excited to see the empire continue to grow. So to that end, what's next for you guys? So you got the retail distribution side growing. You've got Amazon back rocking. What's
Mhm.
next for you guys, and how are you guys planning to grow into 2024 and beyond?
Yeah. So, right now we're just planning for the upcoming year, like every other company. Just kind of getting everything set up to scale our Mid Atlantic region and to expand into California as 65% of our e-commerce customers come from that region. So, for our business and with the food and beverage business, with scale comes with more capital, especially if you want to compete with the big dogs, right? So we're actually currently raising our first seed round and currently in talks with some potential investors.
Oh, it's super exciting. How's that process been for you?
I'm probably gonna have to come back on season 2 and tell you the stories, but yeah, it's really tough. It's a learning process. I've never spoken to investors in my entire life. Um, it's something that I'm still learning, but it's been going great. Really really fun because I get to just tell the story over and over and yeah, answer any questions.
That's awesome, and it probably gets better and better each time. And again, to your point, and I've talked about this on this show a bunch. At least you're out there creating and building. And uh, I've had so many guests that talk about even with the difficulties and complexities that come with building a business and being in a startup. At least you can't lay in bed at night wondering what if I actually went out and did this. But you actually can wake up in the morning having something to go after and fight for. So
For
excited
sure.
for you guys to continue to grow. Uh, is there, I guess, along that journey, at what point did you get linked up with Gilbert? And then I want to ask some more questions about future partnerships that you guys have coming down the pike too.
Yeah, so with Gilbert, I think it happened around last year when we had slid in the DMs, right? right?
Is that,
Because
is that how you got in touch with him?
yeah,
That's
yeah,
awesome. That's so
yeah.
awesome.
I swear it was all luck, and it's a beautiful story. So basically, with Gilbert, right? I think we had just started with union. Yeah, we were growing the region. This is at the time where we didn't have Giant. We had about like 50 accounts maybe around the Mid-Atlantic region, and we were scaling our Amazon business. And at this point, I was like, oh yeah, we need investors. We're scaling. We're scaling. We got Amazon back. We got retail distribution. Website's looking pretty good. Like we need to find an investor. So I was like, okay, time to go into the DMs and start reaching out, right? And a background about me, I played basketball in high school, and still a super basketball fan. And uh, I grew up watching a lot of the guys that I ended up hitting up, right? And Gilbert being one of them. Gilbert, obviously, you being from the DMV, you know what kind of there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, what kind of impact he had on not just the city but the franchise. He's literally the greatest wizard of all time for sure, right?
Hands down.
I DM'd him. I DM'd him in 2022, and I was like, "Hey, would you like to try the water? You know the spiel." And he was like, "Yeah, send it to this address, right?" And I was like, "Oh my God, he even answered!" Like, crazy. Gilbert Arenas literally answered, and I sent him the cases of water, and I was tracking that tracking number. I was making sure, like, all right, I'm gonna reach out to him the day after he receives it, so it doesn't look like I'm bothering him, but just want to hear his feedback, right? And I had DM'd him the day after he received his package, and I was like, hey, I see from the tracking number that you had received it. How do you like it? Everything good? Like, and he was like, yeah, I already went through half the box. I'm gonna post it tomorrow. And I was like, what? Like, and another background about the story, which makes it crazier, is that I'm not going to name any names, but I was in the midst of talking to a sports agency, one of the biggest sports agencies. Not going to put any names out there, right? Or maybe off camera, I'll tell you after. But
Sure.
I was speaking to a sports agency, and they had. I don't mean this in the most disrespectful way, but they had brought a player that let's just say he doesn't get that much playing time, right? And they were just like, yeah, because you're my friend, and I've known you since forever. I got you. I can get my client to post Susosu on his story for $5,000. And I was like, oh, in my head, right? Fast forward later, after Gil saying that, I was just like, what? Like, why is this man Gilbert Arenas like, the most popping guy in sports podcast right now? DMV Wizards, NBA legend. Why is he gonna post for free, right? Um, and I was just like, in the end of the day, let's see if he posts, right? Next day, I remember we were doing store runs, and I see like a little notification. I was like, "No, Chill Gil mentioned you in the story," and I was like, "Oh, what the?" And I saw he literally posted a picture of him sitting on his couch with the pouch and was like, "Best water ever," this and that. Like, already went through half the case, and I was like, "What the?" I was like, "Thank you so much. It means so much to me, especially coming from a DMV person. Like, I'm like, I'm humbled. That's crazy, right?" And just like that, the next few days afterwards, he just kept posting it and was promoting it, right? And I was also at the same time watching Gil's Arena because it's the best
Yeah.
basketball podcast. I like to put it on in the background while I'm doing work.
Yeah.
And they had Nick Young as a
Swaggy
guest.
P.
Yeah, Swaggy P. And they had Swaggy P on, and I had seen Swaggy P like drink some of the water, and I was like, oh my God, like the product's on Gil's Arena for free too, you know? And I was just like, this is crazy. Like, I'm getting all this kind of love. Like, he's really like genuinely pushing out the product with no price on it. So since then, it's been genuine. Do you remember? Were you actually at the game when they honored him?
Yeah, last year they did it. I went with my brother and sister. Yeah,
No way. Yeah.
yeah.
So um, he had told me that like months before that the Wizards were gonna honor him, long overdue. But
That's
the
when they
Wizards,
wore their retro jerseys last season. They redid the court and everything. That yeah,
right? They brought back the big three.
Karan and Antoine Jameson.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. He had told me that he was gonna come to DC. Um, and then he said if there was time, we can definitely link up and talk, right? So we didn't meet up until I think the game was Saturday, correct? Or
But yeah, it
Friday?
was a week on Saturday something.
Friday, right? And he had a busy schedule with all the Fubo TV or Fubo Sports shooting and whatever the Wizards had him doing as well. So we had dinner with him on Sunday at La Vie. You're
Yeah,
familiar?
of course. That's
Yeah, La
crazy.
Vie. Love La Vie. Yeah. Yeah, we had dinner and he showed up 15 minutes early and I was just like, what the? And just kind of seeing his mannerism and just how he approaches everything, how I'm an early person. I came there 10 minutes early. He came there 15 minutes early. He doesn't need to do that. I do. So the fact that he had so much respect, mannerism, and also just like a real like role model type figure, I was just really impressed. And fast forward, we still have a really good relationship. We've we went to his house about like 3 months ago or something. So we went to his house 3 months ago to shoot a cool father son interview, which I cannot wait till that releases, and then a commercial as well, a series of commercials between him and his son. So
That's
it
awesome.
it was just amazing, just meeting him, just seeing him in person, and just having a good relationship with him, and having him support the product as well and the company.
So cool. So cool. I mean, I feel like for every you hear so many stories, you see the tabloid headlines about XYZ celebrity athlete, whomever being a jerk to fans or
Yeah,
to paparazzi or whatever. But there's also probably 10, 50, 100x that of just the good other good humans in the world that are just trying to help, pay it forward and help the next person in line to grow their business or grow their skills as an athlete or talents as an artist. So cool to
for
hear
sure,
that
for
story,
sure,
and doesn't surprise me, but it's good to hear and excited for that partnership to continue and to see the commercials. That's gonna be awesome, man.
for sure. And we do have a project together with him and two other of his business partners. So we do have something coming out, another beverage line coming out in 2024. So be on the lookout for
Awesome.
that.
So cool, man. So cool. Let me ask this as we round out here. We're going into 24. The product is running up at stores on Amazon. Where can people find you guys, stay in touch, get in touch, and learn more about you guys and what you're doing over at Susosu?
Yeah, definitely. You can find us on any e-commerce platform. We're on Amazon. We're still on Walmart. We're on our website. We're on Instacart, Kroger, whatever. And as far as retail stores, we're in about 132 locations or 132 giant locations, and a few other independent markets around the DMV area slash Pennsylvania.
Awesome. And then any closing words or pieces of advice for other young entrepreneurs, people that were in your shoes in 2019, 2020, maybe scratching their heads between their 9 to 5, 5 to 9, and debating whether or not they're ready to make that leap or they're struggling with their startup. Any pieces of advice you might share to the audience?
Yeah, I actually have two pieces of advice, right?
Yeah, let's go.
Um, for all the people that, are just kind of like, I want to start a business, but I don't know yet, right? Um, I want people to know whatever you want to do, just go for it, right? Take calculated risk, but take risk, right? I feel like every human has the potential to be great, It's just a lot of people never get the opportunity to really unlock their greatness. And it's really because they just never take action, and they're just kind of scared of what's called, or what they define as, failure. So I say just go for it, just do it. And the second part, I actually learned this from Gil, right? So this is after you do it, right? Finally, you're doing your business, and this is like my tip from Gil. Uh, we did a whole. It was kind of like a freestyle interview in his backyard where we were just asking him questions, and he had told me this, right? He said, get into the routine of creating goals and metrics, and design a routine to put you in place to achieve that goal, right? The problem is a lot of people move, and he didn't say it exactly like this, but the problem is a lot of people move and work so blindly, and that's why there's not much growth year over year. Everything you must, everything you do must have intentions and purposes, right? Cut out anything that doesn't move you closer to your goals. And this process is really just a forever thing. You don't ever stop. And really, you build confidence off of just achieving goal after goal after goal. And it's stuck with me since he had said that, and been building a routine to achieve. Yep.
Wicked, man. Well, Gina, I appreciate you sharing your story, the highs and lows of your early startup career. Excited for you guys as you're going to raise your seed round, and excited to see what's to come in the new year. And thanks again for jumping on. Excited to stay in touch.
Definitely. Thank you, Arjan. Appreciate it.